This is KGW News at 5.
We begin tonight with some news about former President Jimmy Carter. He will begin receiving hospice care at home. His foundation, the Carter Center, made the announcement earlier today, writing in part, after a series of short hospital stays, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter today decided to spend his remaining time at home with his family and receive hospice care instead of additional medical intervention. Carter has made several trips to the state of Oregon. In 1978, he was met by anti-nuclear protesters in the Rose City. And after Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, then President Jimmy Carter described the aftermath of the eruption, calling it a great loss. Carter is 98 years old. He is the oldest living former American president. Welcome to KGW News at 5. I'm Art Edwards. Our top local story tonight. A Multnomah County Sheriff's deputy is now on administrative leave after shooting and injuring a man the Sheriff's Office says was running around early this morning firing a gun in Troutdale. Alma McCarty brings us the latest.
Early Saturday morning, just after 1:30, deputies first got word about an armed suspect reportedly shooting out windows at this Home Depot here on Southeast Stark Street. But ultimately, the situation ended here behind the store and in front of homes in this neighborhood.
After several hours on scene, deputies took down tape and cleared out as neighbors like Timothy Poliak processed what happened just outside their front doors in the middle of the night.
I was falling asleep, and then my mom just runs into my room screaming. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And she's like, they're shooting outside. I thought it was an active shooter. I didn't know what was going on.
After instructing employees in the store to stay down and stay inside, Multnomah County deputies and Gresham police officers found the suspect and told the man to drop his weapon. Investigators say the situation escalated from there and a deputy shot the suspect.
I just look out the window and I just see a lot of cop cars and a man laying on the ground. My cousin lives on the other street behind, and I check my phone. I see he texted me and he's like, yo, what's going on? Did you hear that? And I was like, what did you hear? He just said, I just heard police get on the ground. And right after, like a loud gunshot.
The sheriff's office said the man was taken to the hospital straight away and treated for his injuries. Within hours, he was out and booked into the Multnomah County Detention Center on charges of unlawful use of a weapon and other crimes. The deputy who fired their weapon was put on leave, which is standard protocol, pending the results of an investigation. No one else was injured.
When there's shooting right in front of your next door neighbor's house, it's like, whoa, it's kind of eye-opening. So I'm not surprised about what happened. I mean, I'm not here to say if they made the right choice to shoot him or not, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like it was justified. If he was not complying and if he's just firing out shots, I'd rather that guy, be put into custody and not be shooting around my house.
The East County Major Crimes Team and the DA's office are leading this ongoing investigation. In Troutdale, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Portland police have arrested the driver they say struck and killed 26-year-old Ashley Diane McGill last summer. Police say Kenneth Joseph Freeman lost control of his car during an illegal street race. Police arrested him Thursday morning on a warrant for second-degree manslaughter. He was booked into the Multnomah County Jail. McGill's mother, Misty Nicholson, says this arrest is helping her heal.
I don't think he's a cold-blooded killer. I don't. But she had a family, and that was my baby.
Nicholson says that she found out about her daughter's death when police told her 3 days after it happened. She said the medical examiner told her family that McGill likely died instantly due to the speed of the car. And now to an update after frightening news from North Portland. It all started with what appeared to be gunshots, and then things were thrown off an apartment balcony. After that, there were flames, with neighbors being told not to go outside. New tonight, Portland police have shared the name of the suspect in this case. He is Brent B. Lusted from Portland. Lusted is now in custody and faces multiple charges, including arson and unlawful use of a weapon. Our Catherine Cook explains what happened.
Fire jutting from this 8th-floor apartment in St. John's Friday evening. It was the last in a series of wild and alarming events to unfold near Cathedral Park. It started around 1:30. That's when police responded to the shrunk Riverview Tower on North Syracuse. Callers reported a man in a mental health crisis, throwing things from his balcony, including furniture. When police showed up, they say the man answered the door holding a rifle before closing the door on them. Officers backed off to regroup, and then things escalated.
And we've heard multiple shots fired from inside the apartment.
Sergeant Kevin Allen says none of those shots were fired outside the apartment, but at times the suspect stepped onto the balcony holding the rifle. For that reason, police issued a shelter-in-place order for anyone within 4 blocks of the building. They also activated tactical units and crisis negotiators.
A situation we consider to be an armed, barricaded subject with a rifle in an elevated position in a highly populated area. So we have a tremendous amount of concern for public safety in this situation.
He's really pissed off. Very, very, very pissed off, and seems like he's off his meds.
Brooke Rose Call says her boyfriend knows the suspect and saw him with a rifle on Thursday.
Matter of fact, it is a pellet gun. It is not a shotgun. They're both pellet guns, and because my man actually uncogged it or whatever, but we didn't have no clue he was like gonna go nuts or anything.
Just before 5, things took another turn. Police say the suspect started a fire on the balcony. It grew fast. Fortunately, firefighters responded from just a block away. Meanwhile, officers loud-hailed the suspect from the hallway. He came out, and officers arrested him.
I mean, it's heartbreaking for everybody else that lives there.
Cookie Lindstrom works across the street. She believes the same man showed up outside her salon on Monday in crisis and once again carrying a rifle.
Said he was going to shoot who it was that broke into his apartment and stole all his money. I talked him down, got him calmer. He appreciated it. He said, thank you for caring, blah, blah, blah. And then when I saw this, I felt in my heart it was him.
That was Catherine Cook reporting. There were no reported injuries, but police say the one person experienced a medical issue while they were evacuating residents during the fire. 5 former Memphis police officers charged in the death of Tyree Nichols faced a judge for the first time. All of them entered not guilty pleas to second-degree murder charges. The hearing comes more than 5 weeks after Nichols died from his injuries that were sustained during a traffic stop. The judge did note that the case may take a long time to settle. A federal judge sentenced a Lincoln City man to 45 days in prison for his role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Prosecutors claim that Jeffrey Hubbard entered the Capitol building by climbing through a shattered window. He then moved to the front of the crowd and confronted uniformed police officers. The 47-year-old was pepper sprayed in the face. Prosecutors claim the Lincoln City man spent nearly an hour inside the Capitol on January 6th. The U.S. Army veteran pleaded guilty to a single count of parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. In addition to serving 45 days in prison, Hubbard was also sentenced to 3 years of probation. He is one of 9 defendants from Oregon and Southwest Washington charged in connection with the January 6th attack.
Did the jury find the above-named defendant guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree?
That defendant is Warren Forrest. Earlier this month, the jury found him guilty of killing a 17-year-old Portland girl named Martha Morrison back in 1974. On Friday, a Clark County judge sentenced Forrest to life in prison for that crime. Prosecutors argued that Forrest is a serial killer. He was already serving life for the murder of another young girl. Her name was Krista K. Blake. She was also killed in 1974. New DNA technology linked Forrest to both murders.
He followed a very specific plan, a plan that involved a very specific weapon and a very specific type of girl. It had a very familiar beginning, middle, and end.
The weapon they're referring to is a dart gun that Forrest confessed to using. Police found Morrison's DNA on it. Investigators believe that Forrest is responsible for killing 7 women in Oregon and in Washington.